Welcome back everyone to the Select Where Part 2 lecture, where we're going to head straight to pgadmin and code along with a couple of examples just to give you an idea of the different use cases for select, where, as well as comparison operators and logical operators. Alright, let's begin by exploring the customer table. I'm going to just select everything from the customer table so we can explore it quickly. We'll say select, and then asterisk from customer, semicolon, go ahead and run this. And I can see there's a customer ID column, a store ID, first name, last name, email, an address ID, some active Boolean, whether or not that customer is active or not, so true or false, the date they were created, last update, and then also an integer corresponding to the active Boolean, so ones and zeros for the trues and falses here. Okay, so what can we do here to start filtering out customer information? Well, maybe something I want to know is who has the first name Jared? Maybe someone comes to the store and asks me, I'm looking for some customer named Jared. So I can say select all the columns from customer. We'll go ahead and delete that semicolon. And then we'll say where, and this is where we have a condition. So we have to say the column name. In our case, it's first name. So we'll scroll over here. You can see we have first underscore name. So we'll say where first underscore name is equal to, and then single quote, capital J, and then Jared. Note how the single quotes are essentially automatically ended for you in PostgreSQL and pgadmin. Semicolon, optional if you want to end this or not. We'll go ahead and run this, and now I can see I have that information for Jared. Now let's go ahead and explore the film table to see how we can combine conditions with logical operators. So we'll say select everything from film, run that, and it looks like I have different film IDs that are unique to each film, a title for each film, a description, a release year, a language ID, rental duration, rental rate, length, etc. So let's start playing around with this. Let's go ahead and find maybe all the rental rates that are higher than $4. Recall that when we use distinct, there's really only three rental rates, 99 cents, $2.99, and $4.99. So I can say select everything from film where the rental rate is greater than, let's just say 4. Semicolon, go ahead and run that, and now I can see all the results that are back here are now $4.99, $4.99, etc. So they're all greater than $4. And let's go ahead and add another condition on this. So we can do this for a logical operator. Let's go ahead and choose ones that are expensive to replace. Notice we also have a replacement cost. Let's go ahead and choose the ones that have a replacement cost greater than or equal to $19.99. So we'll say and notice I don't need to rewrite where again. So the where just applies to all these conditions that I can keep linking together with logical operators. So well, rental rate is greater than 4, and let's say replacement cost is greater than or equal to $19.99. And because these are numeric types, I can directly compare them to these numbers. Note how PostgreSQL lets you know what data type it is. So there's different colors depending if I'm working with strings, whether these are keywords in PostgreSQL, or whether they're numerics. We'll go ahead and run this. And now I can see here that we have $4.99 and then the more expensive movies to replace, $19.99, $28.99, etc. And I can keep tacking on more and more, so maybe I want only certain ratings. Maybe I only want the R movies. So you can always remove that semicolon and continue on another line where we say and then maybe rating is equal to, and then single quotes R. Go ahead and run that, and now we keep filtering more and more on this, etc. And recall that here we're just asking for all the columns, but I can always just ask for only certain columns. So I can say select the title from film, and then we run this, and essentially I get a list of all the titles where these three conditions happen to be true, where the rental rate's more than 4, the replacement cost is greater than or equal to $19.99, and the rating is equal to R. Let's imagine I want to answer the question of how many titles there are where these conditions all happen to be true. Well, what I can do is simply add in a count. So I can either count title, which is essentially counting how many rows are returned here. So if I run this, it gives me back that there's 34 movies where all these conditions happen to be true. But if you remember from the count lecture, I can really pass in any column to this, or in fact I can just write an asterisk here, which essentially just count the number of rows that are returned from the film table that satisfy these conditions. And if I run this, I'll always get back the same number. So recall from that count lecture, it doesn't really matter what actual column I apply here, because I'm really just asking the question here, how many rows are returned that satisfy these particular conditions? Let's go ahead and explore a quick example of the OR logical operator. Maybe I only want movies that have an R rating or a PG-13 rating. Well, what I can do for that is I can say where rating is equal to R, or, make sure we spell this right, rating is equal to PG-13. Notice here I'm still counting the number of movies returned here. I run this and there's 418 movies that satisfy either the R condition or PG-13. Now remember, we also have the not equal to operator in case I want everything that isn't an R movie, for example. I could say something like the following. I could say where the rating is not equal to R. And let's just go ahead and grab all the columns here so we can see the results. We'll go ahead and run this, and if I scroll over to the right, you'll notice on the rating that everything here is everything that's not R. So that's G, PG, PG-13, NC-17, etc. So we have all the ratings here, but none of these are actually going to then be R. All right, so that's it for these code along examples. Coming up next, we're going to check your understanding by giving you a couple of challenges with these select where statements. Hopefully you can already tell this is a very powerful tool and something you'll be using quite often when it comes to your SQL queries. I'll see you in the next lecture.